Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever heard someone, a mix engineer, a mastering engineer, or a recording engineer, mentioning a Baxandall equalizer? If you heard, you probably ask yourself, like I did back in the day, what is actually a Baxandall equalizer and how it actually operates? Why do we use it? How to use it? And why is it so popular yet so underrated by some people? In this video, I'll guide you through what are Baxandall equalizers, how they operate, and why should you actually use them in your mixes or your masters. Baxandall equalizers operate mainly with shelf filters. Depending on manufacturer, you probably heard about the dangerous music Baxandall equalizer, but there are some great emulations that I'm also about to show you, some free ones that you can experiment with and just use in your productions. If you have some experience with Baxandall equalizers, please make sure you don't mistake them for shelving equalizers. Those two are different. Shelving equalizers also operate with shelf filters. However, Baxandall equalizers are much more gradual. Let's jump into another screen and I'll explain how they work. The first Baxandall equalizer plugin I want to present to you is by Acoustic Audio called Choral Baxter. This plugin is completely free, so you can get it from their website. Now, I also opened Plugin Doctor, which is an overall analyzer since we want to monitor the frequency and what this specific processor does to our audio, for the purpose of easier understanding. So as you can see from the interface, we have 6 knobs right here, super simple. So we have a high pass filter right here, which you can use as you can see here. We have a low pass filter, but by default, this plugin introduces a low pass filter even if you keep this at out. As you can see here, it's above 20 kHz or so, just to prevent those ultra high frequencies from distorting and causing troubles. But we don't have that on the low end, so keep that in mind. Now what happens now is that this plugin, as you can see here, it doesn't introduce any harmonic excitement yet. However, if I press this pre-knob here, now we see some harmonic information, and this is their module where they allow you to emulate analog gear and to actually get the harmonic excitement very similar to the analog gear. So that's why this pre button is actually great, and I personally use it all the time. Now we have 2 bands right here, 2 shelf filters. We have one for the lows, one for the highs. So this one controls the frequency and this one controls the frequency of the high frequencies as well. If we set this frequency to this 98 Hz right here and I start amplifying, you can see the shelf filter raising basically. The same goes for the high end. For example, let's keep it at 80 kHz, and as soon as I boost, we can see even more harmonic excitement and the shelf filter doing its work. So basically this is how easy Baxandall equalizers work. Now why would you use something like this? Usually you would see Baxandall equalizers being used like so. So let's readjust that quickly. Something like this. Let's go with the setting like this. When you're listening to music in your car, and when you play the track from your studio monitors to your car, you'll obviously notice the difference in the low and the high end. Like the bass and the overall presence and brightness of your track sounds much more accented in your car. This is because audio devices in a car or in a hi-fi system have an inbuilt Baxandall equalizer that basically amplifies the music so it sounds a bit more sweet, a bit more like amplified, if you understand what I'm saying. And that's because it's highly important for us, music producers, mixing engineers, mastering engineers like myself, to use a very flat sounding monitors, since we want to hear the song and the signals as they are without amplifications such as this one. Optionally, it's great to actually use this kind of EQ on your mix bus or in mastering. Even though those car systems, those other audio systems, hi-fi systems have this inbuilt, you can sweeten up the mix before mastering using this EQ by creating a classic smile curve. So we call this smile curve because it reminds of a smile, just to make sure we polish the mix bus before actual mastering. Or if you don't do this on the mix bus, you can do this in mastering, which helps to basically create a bit more sweet low end and the top end in the most natural way. Remember, these EQs are very, very gradual, as you can see from the frequency spectrum right here. Another great emulation of a classic Baxandall equalizer is this Analog Obsession plugin that I found on their website. It's also free to download, but it operates a bit different. You have more controls, because it's a mid-side plugin, and by default, so these are like default settings. The default settings were like this. As you can see, the response is not completely linear. You have some adjustments in terms of frequency. However, there are not as much harmonic content as it was with Choral Baxter, so that's why I would prefer Choral Baxter all day over this specific plugin. However, this is a great plugin to just experiment with and basically learn how the original unit, Dangerous Bax, works. Now I'll show some examples on how Baxandall equalizers sound on drums, how they sound on vocals, and how they sound in mastering.
When I change my attitude, I change my altitude. My rule number one is never make out number two. Jesus is the greatest if you ask me. If the devil's sleeping on me, he gon' have a bad dream. Satan don't want beef cause he too chicken like Zaxby's. Who that Christian white boy running? I feel like McCaffrey. But I'm not running back. Just hit 1 million on YouTube, I need another plaque. I got the Father, Son, and Spirit, that's a...
It's been hard to get by without you by my side, 'cause you've been gone too long. I wondered what went wrong.
So I rarely see any videos regarding Baxandall equalizers, so hopefully this video has been helpful to you. If you find this helpful, definitely make sure to leave a subscribe. Let me know down in the comments which plugin or which type of processor should I cover in the next video, and I'll get that done.